Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us for this afternoon's session. My name is Thulara Matlaba, the Global Brand Manager for Moonscape Education Group. In this session, we'll be covering the Creativity and Design faculty, in which we house our fashion design and jewelry design courses. Janine Turner will be taking us through fashion design and Catherine Millian through jewelry design. Over to you, Janine.
Thank you, Tulare. My name is Janine Turner, Fashion Design Lecturer at Moonscape Durban campus. So, you guys are obviously here because you're, number one, interested in studying at Moonscape, but number two, also because you're interested in perhaps studying fashion design. So, Moonscape offers a higher certificate to study fashion, which is 1 year. And then Moonscape also offers a 3-year degree course in fashion design. You can now even do an honours, which is an add-on for the degree course if you wanted to specialise even more in fashion design. So if you're interested in studying the degree program, your first year that you do is a general program that you study with everyone else in all the other disciplines, like interior design and graphic design. As you will learn, all of these design disciplines are actually quite integrated, and it's really nice to get a feel for all of these other disciplines as well, as you might find that it helps you on your design journey and helps you create a unique design aesthetic for yourself. After your first year, you then decide to specialize in fashion, and that's when things start getting really interesting. So when you start in your second year, you don't have to know anything about sewing or pattern drafting or have had any experience in the design industry. I think that's often what I hear is like most students sort of worry. It's like, I've never touched a sewing machine, you know, like I have no idea what I'm going to do, but that is actually the point of this course, and we really start teaching you from the basics on how to thread a machine, all the way to being able to sew an entire final collection. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about the actual fashion course and the modules that you may encounter. So applied design and applied technology, I would say, is your main subjects, because these are really specifically focused on the sewing of garments, pattern making, and the creative design part of it. So this you'll carry from your second to your third year. You will also have merchandising, which is such a great subject. You really learn a lot about the actual industry and positions that you could perhaps have as jobs in the future. You learn how the industry works. So if you're interested in perhaps joining the industry as a buyer or a merchandiser, this is really a great module for you to learn a lot about the industry. There's also in third year business studies. So again, if perhaps you're not interested in being a buyer or merchandiser and you want to open up your own brand, then this is a great subject because it teaches you all the ins and outs of running a business, even the financial side, everything that you need to know. So really this course offers a holistic sort of package, so that if you are not sure exactly what you want to do with fashion in these 2 years, with everything that we teach you, you'll definitely be able to make a decision and you'll be equipped to do anything that you really want to do. Another great subject is also portfolio. You have this in second and third year. So portfolio is probably one of the most important skills that you need in order to get a job after you've graduated. So we teach you everything that you need to know to put something together so that you can show future employers everything that you've learned, all the skills, and then also to show them your talent and your specific design aesthetic. So again, just like another really brilliant subject that you'll be exposed to. Within these modules, you're going to encounter some really interesting projects along the way. One of your first projects will be to sew a pillowcase, and that might sound boring, but once you get into it, you'll be so grateful that you're sewing something as simple as a pillowcase, just so that you can get used to using the sewing machine. Hopefully, if you're in class, you get one of the slower ones, although I don't think there are any. So it's a great way to try out the sewing machine. You get to experiment with different trims, so it is such a great point of entry into starting actual sort of construction of garments. Then you work your way through to third year, which is just really exciting. You get to make a corset, so you actually construct your own corset pattern. You draft it, so by that time you've already learned so many skills that you will be equipped to draw up the pattern. You will be able to find boning to sort of create the structure of the garment, and you've learned about fuse to also structure the garment properly, and then you sew that up. That is followed by, again, a tailored jacket, one of the most complicated garments to sew, with so much internal sort of work that needs to happen in order for it to really be a well-fitted tailored jacket. So that's also something you get to eventually do. I skipped so many steps along the way, but you'll be sewing jeans and a collared white shirt. So even just with those projects, you can see that you'll definitely learn so many different skills, and it's nice doing all these different projects along the way, because that's also how you find out what it is that you enjoy. Perhaps you want to end up being a men's tailor, or perhaps you want to sew wedding dresses and then corsetry is important. Perhaps you just want a contemporary label, and then learning how to have sewn jeans and collared white shirts is also a nice module to learn. Applied design also has some incredible projects. You will be designing many women's wear collections along the way. We also touch on menswear, so if that's something that you're interested in, that's packaged in as well. You will learn all the different parts of storyboards, so there's all these really technical sides to it, where you draw the garment in crazy amounts of detail, and you label the garment. You pretty much tell everyone how it's going to be constructed. There's the really fun sort of creative process as well, where you have a mood board and you show us what you were inspired by, and you have also work on client boards, where you tell us that this is the person that I'm designing for, because that's a really big part and the most important part of the whole process. You've got to design something that the client would really like. Then you have process boards, which has all your designs on it. At the beginning, you are still learning how to render sort of fashion figures, and you start by hand. There's some great drawing subjects as well, which really teaches you, so don't worry, you don't need to know anything. And eventually you get to this point where you can digitally render the most incredible fashion figures with fabrics and garments that look real in terms of how you've drawn it. So you end up with a final storyboard, which is all the technical aspects of it, and also your beautiful fashion illustrations. So storyboarding is really one of the most exciting parts of the course, where you really get to be extremely creative. And I'd just like to show you some examples of work that previous students or current students have done. So here is a storyboard from Toulon, and I just want you to have a look at it. Then I also just wanted to show you examples of current third year students' work. This is their applied technology work. So this is sewing, where they've drafted their own patterns and sewn up their own garments. So please have a look. I'm going to show you some of the details and also some of the final garments. Then there's another project that focuses on textiles, which also comes up in applied design. It is one of the most incredible projects that you'll do in the whole fashion course. You really need to know so much about textiles as a designer. You need to understand how fabric drapes, sort of the technical aspects of textiles, composition of textiles. Pretty much every design that you do starts with a textile, and you really need to understand how that textile functions in order to be able to create a final successful design. So we go quite in depth into different textiles, natural, synthetic. You even make up your own fabric library after going to textile stores and looking for specific textiles. And this fabric library is something that you can keep for yourself for the rest of your fashion career and refer back to if you perhaps need the information again. Something that also comes up, which is really important within the fashion industry now and will continue to really dominate the fashion industry, and that is sustainability. So we know that we can't carry on within the fashion industry the way we are now. Companies, really big companies right across the world, are rethinking the way that they manufacture clothes, how they create textiles, and then finally the consumption aspect of it. So we also touch on sustainability in the course, and you look at fabric dyeing sustainably. If you've ever dyed fabric before, or if you have ever wondered about it, it's so polluting to the environment, and you really get to experiment and explore with different dyeing techniques, which is such a bunch of fun and really experimental as well. So again, we like to touch on the sustainability aspect of fashion as well. So while you're studying with us, we also want to start introducing you to the industry and start having you take part in local fashion competitions as well. So the first one that you take part in is SA Fashion Week Student Competition, where you actually follow the SA Fashion Week design brief, and you design your own garment, you sew it up, and then we send that off to SA Fashion Week so that you can get exposure and start getting your name out into the industry. Then there's also the Durban July. So the Durban July also runs a student competition. That's actually just happened right now, and some of our students entered. We enter students every single year, and it's such a great experience because you are there with your model and you get to dress up an entire outfit or look, you know, with accessories, shoes, everything, and you get to present your design to judges. So what I like about the Durban July and having our students take part is you really get a good feel for sort of taking part in a local competition. You get your name out there, and you also get some feedback from the judges, so you get some outside opinions as well, which is really nice. Another big part of our courses that we have is experiential training. This is probably one of the most important parts. So in second year and third year, you'll be doing experiential training, where you go out to businesses, you integrate, you get a specific brief for it. So you have to sort of get or aim to achieve specific goals, and it's really great because you learn so much, you know. in a classroom we can only teach so much, and then for you to have the actual practical experience and to see what it's really like, you know, perhaps as a buyer at a big company, or perhaps you rather do work experience, you know, with a smaller local brand because you want to start your own. It's a great way to learn from people who are already experts and have been there for quite a while, and you can learn all those lessons without making the mistakes yourself, and use that knowledge in the future. So you might be thinking, well, it's COVID, you know, not many people will take us on, but some of our students have actually done virtual experiential training where they were at home but had a computer set up and did their experiential training via correspondence. And then also for students who weren't able to secure those work experience opportunities, we also provided a module in which they had to interact with outside businesses and do a whole project in order to gain similar sort of experiences and knowledge as they would have done if they could have joined the real workplace. And now that we're talking about online lecturing, this is something that we've been doing for a couple of months now, and it's actually going so well, and the students' results are so good that we've decided that we're going to continue doing it for quite some time. So this is the first time that we are, you know, transitioning to teaching online via laptop, and we've managed to iron out all the sort of worries that we had in the beginning of how do you lecture something practical online, and the students have actually responded so well as well. I think it's helped students to learn a lot more independence. There's a lot more research going on, and we use our lecture time to consult and really guide you. So if this is something that you're worried about, you know, COVID happening, what's happening next year, Inkscape has really got this down, and we're actually doing so well, and some students are even responding better to online lecturing and really enjoying it as well.
Thank you very much, Janine. I hope everybody got an understanding and a sense of what fashion design is at Inkscape. And now I'm handing over to Catherine to take us through jewelry design and the 3 years of progress that you will undergo at Inkscape.
Thank you, Tulari. Welcome everyone to today's open session. My name is Catherine Mullen. I am the jewelry lecturer at Inkscape's Pretoria campus. A little bit of background about me. I studied at the Tshwane University of Technology and obtained my qualification in jewelry design and manufacturing in 2012. From there, I worked for high-end jewelers doing a variety of jobs such as production manager, design manager, quality control manager, and recently in 2019 I decided to open my own business. One of the things that Inkscape prides its lecturers on is being very current in their industry and being aware of all the recent developments, and I'm proud to say that that's something that I can offer my students in the jewelry design course at Inkscape. I am very excited to share information on the jewelry design discipline under the creativity and design faculty at Inkscape. Students that study this particular Bachelor of Design degree will choose to specialize in jewelry design in their second year. I'm sure many of you are wondering, what is the relevance of jewelry in the design field and jewelry in the world at large? As long as man has existed, he has adorned himself, and jewelry has been a way in which mankind can shape and communicate his identity to the rest of the world, communicating such things as his wealth, his status, his class, whether he believes in one religion or another. It's there to celebrate love. It's there to mourn the death of somebody, to celebrate life, but also to share aspects of one's personality, and finally, of course, to share as a gift to others. Our jewelry design program really focuses on introducing the student to the design processes involved in jewelry design and manufacturing. We look at the research processes involved in the design and manufacturing of jewelry. We take it from there to concept development, from there to design development. The students understand or begin to learn and understand what 3D modeling systems are, the use of computer-aided design softwares and technologies. We introduce them to a variety of manufacturing techniques such as hand manufacturing, 3D printing, casting, the finishing and polishing of the design pieces that they manufacture, as well as processes such as setting. Our jewelry module includes subjects such as applied design, in which we teach the students not only the fundamentals of design within the jewelry field, but also the history of jewelry processes, methodologies, how to take a ring from design brainstorming to concept development, design development, manufacturing, and the point to which you are delivering the piece itself. We also teach students the correct way to communicate with clients, to understand the client's needs, and how to channel that into the design and manufacturing of the piece itself. One of the most important subjects that we teach our jewelry design students is applied software applications. This is the module in which we teach students to work with 3D software such as Rhino. Rhino essentially allows the students to model jewelry in 3D space. It gives them access to additional software such as T-splines, which allows for more complex, softer, smoother curves and lines, which is ideal for jewelry that has a more organic feel. Other software that we teach to the students is Keyshot, in which they take the model that they have drawn up in Rhino software and move it over into the rendering phase, in which you can render your piece to look realistic, and it allows you to show the client from a variety of perspectives what their piece will look like before going on to manufacturing. Some of the exciting projects that we have lined up for our students include their Moonscape project that they do in second year. This is a very interesting and exciting project in which they design a very fantasy, science fiction type moonscape. It's a very architectural feeling piece, and they utilize the T-splines software within Rhino to develop very complex Voronoi shapes in their moonscape architecture. One of our third year projects is a big research project in which the students propose a particular idea. They must conceptualize a range that would be relevant in contemporary society. One of our third year students, Savannah Mail, conceptualized and designed a range which is very relevant in contemporary day society. Her concern was that women who would like to exercise outside don't necessarily feel safe. Her range then incorporated jewelry that of course functioned as an accessory, but also had the dual function of being turned or transformed in some way into a defensive weapon. This third year project is particularly important for our third year students, as it encourages them to utilize what they have learned regarding applied design, applied techniques, and software applications, and the relationship between the three, and how essential it is to understand where jewelry design begins, how to take it through the design processes, through software, and into manufacturing, and finally into their final piece. We encourage our students to enter as many competitions as they can during their time here at Inkscape. Many of the competitions are part of the briefs that we take them through during the module. These two competitions include Julex, which is the trade show that takes place every year at the Sanson Convention Center and sees all members of the trade come together. This is, of course, excellent experience and exposure for the students. The other competition is the Rabdasa competition, and that is a trade show that takes place also once a year, but focuses on the 3D manufacturing companies within the industry, and of course then exposes the students to those manufacturing companies and allows them to build up good relationships with suppliers in the industry. Our second and third year Inscape students all take part in job shadowing and experiential training. The experiential training in their third year is a 6-week process in which they go out into the industry and find a company that they would like to work for that 6-week period. The benefits of this are, of course, that they gain first-hand experience of what it would be like to work in their industry in a particular job in that particular field. That's it from me. I really hope that you enjoyed my talk on jewelry design and manufacturing, and I hope that it sparked your interest in taking this subject.
Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I know that there may have been a lot of information for you to take on board, so please note that we are available to give you even deeper detail if you so require. You can visit our website at www.inscape.ac and click on our virtual open day page, where you'll find a host of content, including these recorded sessions, as well as student work. You can also follow us on our social media platforms. Those include Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and at all of them, we are Inscape. Remember to get in now. We're waiting for your application, we're waiting to talk to you, and we believe that Inscape can be the institution that helps you achieve your future. So remember, guys, get in.